Thanks for taking the time to download the Inside the Jungle Football Daily Podcast. Send along your feedback about this show. Send your emails to insidethejungle@spnt.tv. Inside the Jungle Postgame with Nick Superlink.
42-21. Pittsburgh Steelers come out on top here in the Queen City. Defense absolutely got shredded today. Just an embarrassing performance from everybody. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of talk today, tomorrow, throughout the week about the quarterback position. I'm going to have Andy Dalton's back today. You could talk about the fumble. The fumble did not lose the game for them today, folks. Andy Dalton finishes today 21 of 29 for 300 yards, 2 touchdown passes. The defense is what lost the game today, folks. They gave up 543 yards to the Pittsburgh Steelers. How are you going to win when you give up 543 yards? That's next to impossible. So this is, yes, the fumble contributed to it. It's a team loss. But Dalton is not the reason why this game was lost. When you give up 185 yards rushing to Le'Veon Bell, when you give up 117 yards to Antonio Brown, when you give up a 94-yard pass play by letting the receiver simply run right by you, that's how you lose. This is not on Andy Dalton today. This is not on Andy Dalton whatsoever. Andy Dalton, you take away the one mistake on a fumble, on a read option play, and you praise him when he keeps the ball on the read option and scores a 20-yard touchdown run in the first half, but in the second half on a fumble mistake like that, that's not what lost the game. So if you're going to call in today here on the postgame show and you're going to complain about Andy Dalton, you have your every right to say so, but look, this was a team loss. There's no question about it. You give up almost 600 yards of offense. You can't win. You just can't do it. This offense is not built to gain 600 yards of offense. Anyway, if you want to get in touch, 404-946-3397 is the number to call. Let's start off the show. John from Kentucky. Hi, how are you?
Hey, Nick. Great. Well, I tell you, I was a little bit busy while the game was going on. I did get to hear bits and pieces. We were doing well. I thought we were going to win, and then looks like we just fell apart. We had a turnover, and then I think, Bell, he had a run play for like 53 yards, a 53-yard touchdown. Is that right?
I don't know if it was a 53-yard touchdown, but he had several long runs today. He rushed for nearly 200 yards.
Oh, my. Well, there you have it. Okay, whether Pittsburgh won by 21 or whether they won by 2, that's it. But, hey, I want to tell you, I'm not negative. I'm not in shock. I'm not in shock in the least. I wouldn't put a wooden nickel on any team in this division. I mean that. I mean, I'm not a betting guy, but I'm serious. You could not get me to bet $1 on one of these teams. They're too inconsistent, all of them. So it's we're not out of it by any means. It's looking like Cleveland may beat Indianapolis. I'm not sure. Is it still 24-19 up there in Cleveland? It was a second ago.
I'm checking the scores here. I don't have an update yet on the Cleveland score. 24-19 late in the fourth is my most recent update.
Right, and Indianapolis, my last update, they have the ball on the 25-yard line of Cleveland, but a field goal's not going to cut it. They've got to get a touchdown.
Right.
Baltimore took care of Miami. I was kind of surprised there. So, but anyway, all right. So we lost today. So looking like we will have to beat Cleveland and possibly have to beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. in order to either win the division or get in on a wild card. But hey, since he's as capable as doing, they're just as capable of doing that as they were losing by 21 today. So
yep,
it's just a coin toss, man. So hey, I enjoy your podcast, love the program, and I'll let some other people call in. Okay.
I appreciate it, John. Have a safe travels this week.
Okay, thanks.
Rhode. That's John from Kentucky getting us started here on Inside the Jungle. If you want to get in touch, 404-946-3397 is the number to call. Chase Lee's giving me updates in the chat room. He says Colts are at the goal line. So I'll continue to update you as I get more updates. Actually, the chat room, you're probably going to be able to provide me more updates than I'll have. But I'll at least discuss it here on the show. Look, you can call the Andy Dalton fumble a game changer, but at some point, somebody's got to step up and make a play and pick the guy up. Nobody did that today. I mean, is Andy Dalton going to be able to stop the same power run to the left that the Steelers ran over and over and over again? No. That's the only question I have today. I shouldn't say only because I have a lot of questions. I love Giovanni Bernard. I really do. I think he has some special talents. But I would much rather prefer Jeremy Hill in the game. On the day, Hill had 8 carries for 46 yards. Bernard, 6 carries for 17 yards. 21 carries as a team. You'd like to see why they abandoned the run. I don't know. But then again, you can also see why they did. They knew they could throw the ball on the Steelers, and they did. And they did it well. A.J. Green has a career high today. 11 catches for 224 yards. The guy was having a monster day. They were able to move the ball through the air. And, again, it comes down to, can you get off the field on third down? Can you make plays? Can you force turnovers? Can you get pressure on the quarterback? Roethlisberger had all day to throw. There was nobody near him when, I don't believe he was sacked at all. 600 yards of offense given up, yet the narrative on social media is that Dalton's the problem. I don't understand it. Here in the chat room, Nathan Reinick says 0 sacks. That says it all. This team has no pass rush. I agree completely, Nathan. Chase Lee also says, how can the defense go from third to horrible? I understand the drop-off, but anyone can get this performance out of the team as a coach. Yeah, then that was one of the big question marks heading into the season, is whether or not Paul Guenther was going to be able to replicate the success of Mike Zimmer. And so far you could say that not really. Look, we talked about it on the show a few times recently that we've been praising the secondary. We've been praising the defense. Yes, they give up yards, but they don't give up a lot of points. They keep the plays in front of them. That's what the secondary has done all year. Well, today we finally saw the secondary get beat over the top. Leon Hall just absolutely burned. Run right by. Bryant, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. I like Leon Hall. He's been a warrior for the Bengals, but 2 Achilles surgeries, and age is not his best friend right now. At some point, you've got to put the guys that you've drafted in there to see if they can make plays, see if they can contribute. What does Dre Kirkpatrick offer you? What does Denard offer you? These are 2 first-round cornerbacks not being utilized. Sure, they're great special teamers, but when people are running by your secondary, that's a problem. What do these guys offer? Let's find out. What does it hurt? At this point, I think it's worth the risk. Again, if you want to get in touch, 404-946-3397 is the number to call if you're outside the country as well. You can get in touch via Skype. Let's welcome our good pal from across the pond, Mike Smith, here on the Jungle Line. Mike, how you doing, bud?
I'm okay, Mick. I'm okay. worst things happen at sea. You know, I still, unlike most Steelers fans, I have a job.
Wow. Okay. Oh, harsh. Okay.
Harsh. What we just witnessed was a massacre, mate. I think harsh at this very moment is my most appropriate way of response.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, it was definitely a massacre. The defense was absolutely shredded. It was just, that was what was so disappointing.
Yeah, they sucked. There's no two ways about it, really. They really did suck, and there didn't seem to be any adjustments at the half, and there was no pressure on Roethlisberger all day, and which again went against my bold prediction that every single one of the D linemen would sack Roethlisberger today. It tells you what I know about the game.
Not only did they not have a sack, Mike, they were nowhere even near him ever.
No, they were. It was just non-existent, really. They were just really poor. You could really porous. You could run a train through our defense at the moment. But you know, we're still ahead by half a game. We're still in the driver's seat. You've got to take that into consideration, and we still have to go and play the Brownies and the Steelers yet again. So, you know, it is in our hands, but I don't expect anything from the Broncos game at all. I just don't. Even if the defense just play.
If you think if Ben Roethlisberger can, torch this defense the way you think Peyton Manning is going to have a field day.
Exactly, and even today's. I thought I was getting out of the way. I thought Dalton actually played well today. Fumble was a huge momentum swing, but even if that didn't occur, I still think our defense would have really struggled against Bell and Roethlisberger all day today. It just makes you think next week with Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware, we're going to have it's not next week, is it? It's going to be so tough. But we still think we still got to go to Pittsburgh, still got to go to Cleveland. We can still it's still in our own hands. We'll be okay. I mean, I have to say, even I'd love us to make the playoffs, really would do. But I'll be honest, we won't go very far at all. So it's kind of like, well, even if we did get there, what are we really going to expect? What's going to happen to us? We'll probably end up getting an absolute annihilated again. I mean, it's a shame we're not playing any more NFC teams this season because we seem to absolutely love playing against the NFC.
Yeah. Well, at least if it was an NFC South team, maybe. But you're right.
We'd tie the game, wouldn't we?
Yeah, probably.
That's what would happen.
Look, like you said, today was rough. Playing the Steelers is never easy. I get
it's
that.
Horrible.
But
it's horrible.
They control their own destiny still.
Exactly. It's worse because it's the Steelers. And the fact we've lost at home to the Brownies as well, it hurts even more. So we've had our pants pulled down against the two of our greatest foes in our own stadium. Well, what's the best way of response? Is going into their house and burning it down, isn't it? Really,
that's right.
That's what we got to do. And I trust that I think Andy will relay that message on to the rest of them. I think they'll bounce back. This team, that's what this team's done this year. It's been whooped. Game after another, and it's come back and gone on like say a 3-game winning streak. So I'm okay. I'm not. It hurts. Today hurts, but I think we can move on. Let's go. It's away in Cleveland, isn't it? The next game.
Yep.
Let's go to Cleveland and teach them a lesson and make a statement game. I'm not too worried about the Ravens because we swept them, and to them, they're in a much worse situation than we are. They have to win every single game now. Whereas this is our slip. Let's go. Let's next week statement game in Cleveland, and we take it from there.
I like your positivity, Mike. Appreciate the call, bud.
Well, I might be the only one tonight, so I'll set the bar.
Hey, appreciate the call. Have a good one. We'll talk next week, bud.
No worries, mate. Speak to you later.
Cheers. That's Mike Smith joining us here on the Skype line. Now, if you want to get in touch, 404-946-3397 is the number to call. The updates here in the chat room is that the Colts have scored. They lead by 1 with 32 seconds left. Chase in the chat room, I just don't get it. How is our defense so horrible? That's a great question, Chase. Yeah, I mean, you're missing your heart and soul in Vontaze Burfict. You can't stop the run. We saw the Browns run it down their throats at Paul Brown Stadium 3-4 weeks ago. It happened again today on the same running play every time. The narrative on social media and on Twitter is that this was all on Andy Dalton, and I don't buy it, not for a second. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, though, Bengals fans. 404-946-3397. Area code 540. Hi, who's this?
Hey, Nick, it's Mark from Virginia. How you doing, man?
Hey, Mark. What's up, buddy?
Good. I get a chance every weekend to call you, and I call you. We chit-chat during the good times and the bad times, and this is one of those bad times. Yeah,
rough day today, and, you can point the blame. There were a number of factors today. I just hate that people jump the gun and they are so quick to criticize the quarterback. And I saw people today tweeting at Andy Dalton and saying some really harsh things. The guy played pretty well. You take away the fumble. Yes, that was a bad play, and it really hurt the Bengals. But you take away that play and you look at his numbers, and he had a fantastic game.
Well, look at Green's numbers.
Right.
Look at his numbers. What, 203 yards? I mean, it's per high or something, but. I would have liked to have seen the running game a little more effective. I think our defense as a whole played decent, but we couldn't get off the field on third down, and that kind of kicked us in the butt. I tell you what, I am concerned about. I'm concerned about that game in next week. It's an away game. It's a division game. It could be a trap game for us, and then we come back and we got Denver, man. I mean that's craziness, and who knows how that game's going to go. And then we go back to Pittsburgh, the last game of the year. So these next three games are critical, and they're huge. I'm concerned about Dalton getting hurt. It's just that I would have thought at this point. I'm not blaming anybody specific. I'm just saying that at this point we play these guys. The Steelers came in 18-5. At home against us, so the odds are kind of with them, whatever. But at this point in the season, there's no excuses across the board. We got to go out and play playoff football. We got to play it. There's no more excuses. People shouldn't be blowing up Andy and talking trash because none of that stuff shouldn't even be happening. We should be out there playing precise football. I mean, real quick, we couldn't tackle today.
No.
Did you notice that?
Yep, it was bad.
We couldn't tackle. Bell ran over us. So there's work to do on both sides of the ball. So hopefully get our act together and get back up there and get a win next Sunday.
Yeah, look, it's not out of the realm of possibility. 2 years ago, Andy Dalton goes into Pittsburgh in a must-win game, and he knocked them off. So they can do it.
Yeah.
The question is, can this defense make tackles? There was many times today, as you said, they could have had Bell in the backfield and they whiffed. That's what was so disappointing, I guess, from a defensive standpoint. They just got beat. I mean, it's plain and simple.
Newman got burned like two or three times today.
Newman, Hall, Jones, everybody.
They got burned.
Yeah.
Real quick, you mentioned Dalton going into Pitt. Do you think he'll be okay? Is there concerns about him, or do you think he just got the win kind of knocked out of him?
He just got the win knocked out. He was in the next play after that. So
okay.
They took him out in the fourth when it was kind of out of reach. No sense in getting your quarterback crushed. You need him down the stretch, so take him out. Yeah. But, yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Okay. Nick, thanks for the call. I appreciate it, and let's go these fans together and get them back on get us back on track where we need to be. And let's go to Cleveland and let's take care of some business.
That's right. Hey, appreciate the call, Mark. Enjoy your week.
Thanks, man.
Hooday.
Bye.
That's Mark from Virginia on the horn.
Call from unknown caller.
I don't know why it does that. If you want to get in touch, 404-946-3397 is the number to call. Look, we just watched the Bengals go on the road and win 3 in a row. You're telling me you don't think that the Bengals can go into Cleveland and win? You don't think that the Bengals can go into Pittsburgh and win? They've done it. Cleveland is not great. Their quarterback is not great. They have a good defense, but Brian Hoyer's not great. They're talking about putting Johnny Manziel in, and they're in a playoff hunt. They've gone into Pittsburgh and won must-win games. It can be done. Back to the jungle line. Area code 937. Hi, who's this?
This is James from Dayton. How's it going?
Hey, James.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you what. I mean, I watched the game probably till midway through the fourth quarter when that second touchdown by the Steelers hit. And I'll tell you what, I just think Leon Hall is getting a little too long in the tooth, if you get my drift there.
Yep.
And I just don't think he can keep up.
Well, keep up is an understatement, man. I think he's still chasing Bryant down the field.
Mean, we drafted a first-round pick out of Michigan State. I mean, I'm wearing his jersey right now, and I'm telling you, why is he not playing?
That's a great question.
I don't get it.
I wish I could answer it.
I mean, I understand it might be schemes being different, and then going from a college defensive scheme and you go to the pros is completely different. Some people have a harder time adjusting to different play calling and different defensive schemes. But I mean, surely if he's a first round pick and the guy's intelligent, I mean, it's something off the field. But I tell you what, the secondary is getting just a little too old in that one area, and it frustrates me when we give up big plays like that, because that's why we lost the game. Not because of Andy Dalton, not because of a whole lot of our offense. It was defense was just giving up huge plays.
Yeah, you gave up 543 yards. You're not going to win. And offensively, if you look at the two teams, the Bengals were outgained by 143 yards. On third down, the Steelers were 8 of 16, the Bengals 3 of 11. And the game was won on third down today. And when you can get into third and short and third and manageable, and you have guys like Le'Veon Bell who can catch the ball and actually do something with it, for whatever reason, on our offense, we like to throw the ball to Hill and Bernard, and it's always telegraphed, and they're tackled for no gain. And there are a lot of ways to look at today's game. It's just unfortunate because Dalton continued, and I'm not the biggest Dalton fan in the world either, but it wasn't entirely his fault today. It should be spread around. Everybody had a hand in it.
Everybody had a hand in it. When a team loses, the team loses. But I'm not sure where this puts us in terms of the playoff, the division lead. Are we out of first place now, or how does that work?
We are. Let me refresh my standings here. As of right now, the Bengals are 8-4-1, and they are still in first place because of that tie. Baltimore's 8-5, Pittsburgh's 8-5, and I believe Cleveland has lost.
Right.
So they now are
36 seconds left. So yeah, I guess all right. So that helps us. All right. Well,
so they're still in first. Yeah, they're still in first place. They still control their own destiny. The world is not ending, and look, they had a bad game against the Steelers team that we know can put up points. And when you don't tackle, and when you don't force turnovers, when you don't get to the quarterback, and when you don't get off the field on third down, it's going to be awfully tough to beat the Steelers.
Oh, but I hate the Steelers. It just sucks losing to them.
I totally agree. I never like losing to them either, that's for sure.
So, all right, man. Well, I'll let you go and then get other callers, so I appreciate you taking my call.
Hey, man. Thanks for calling, James. Appreciate it. Hooday.
Yep.
If you want to get in touch, Bengals fans, 404-946-3397. Again, have your voice heard. I want to hear your thoughts today. If you're one of those guys who believes Andy Dalton was the reason they lost today, call in. I want to discuss that. I want to hear your take. Area code 443. Hi, who's this?
It's Keenan from Maryland. How you doing?
Hey, Keenan, what's up, man?
Nothing much. Just watched that game. It's pretty bad. Defense just bad. I think the secondary just keeps getting old. We need to start putting in Darkways and Ardmore. Start giving other guys a chance. Because how long does Terrence Newman have? I think he might retire after this year. Probably will.
Yeah, we've been wondering that for a while. If you're drafting these guys in the first round, There's a reason.
Got to play him.
Right. I think now. What do you have to risk now? I don't know. When you see a guy like Bryant literally run by you and beat you by 10 yards, that tells you what you need to know.
Yeah, Leon Hall has been getting burned all year. That's just what big plays he gave up. But we haven't really given up too many of those big plays. I don't think they're going to keep doing it, but we got this very tough games coming up. I'd say the easiest one is against Pittsburgh again, because the Broncos won. That's in prime time too, so we got to win the Browns, and we got to beat the Steelers.
I mean, if you look at that last game of the season, and after watching the Bengals offense today move the ball, I would say at will against that Steelers secondary, you got to think going into Pittsburgh, you can win. There's no reason to think that you can't. You make some adjustments, which, by the way, the Bengals are historically bad at halftime adjustments. But, when they run the same counter, that same power play to the left side over and over and over again, and there's no adjustments made, I mean, what's Andy Dalton and the offense supposed to do? They can't put up 40 points either.
I know. There's nothing they can do. The defense, where was Brandon Thompson yesterday? Was he hurt?
Didn't hear his name much.
I saw Pecco in on almost every play, which shouldn't happen.
Saw Pecco in. I saw Still in. Atkins was in. Gilberry and I saw Gathers playing some linebacker. It looked like, and they need to get it figured out. They've got 3 weeks to get ready for Pittsburgh again. But if you're Hugh Jackson and you look at what they did today offensively, AJ Green has 10 catches for 223 yards. You're pretty confident heading into Pittsburgh in week 17.
Yeah, the better question is, where is Vontaze Burfict at, and Tyler Eifert? Where are those two at?
Well, Tyler Eifert, I wouldn't expect Eifert back anytime soon. There's a chance that if the Bengals do make the postseason, he could play then. Burfict, I'm not sure. I think they're not sure what's going on with Burfict.
Yeah. Well, we need to get it together, so we gonna do it. But Broncos, we better do something quick.
Yeah.
That's looking like a loss. All right, before the start of the season.
But you know what, Keenan? They're still in first place.
Yeah. Well, because that's tie.
Yep.
Should have been a win.
Should have been a win. That's right.
Who that?
I appreciate the call, Keenan. Again, get in touch. 404-946-3397 is the number to call. I'd love to hear from you, Bengals fans. And let's see if we can get some score updates. How about Carolina? They go into New Orleans and thump the Saints. That was ugly. 41-10 the final after the Saints just went to Pittsburgh and knocked off the Steelers. I'll tell you what, the NFL, you can never figure it out, can you? You just never know. Indy has won in Cleveland 25-24. Baltimore knocks off Miami 28-13. The Vikings and Mike Zimmer knock off the Jets in overtime 30-24. And St. Louis, back-to-back shutouts. How about that? They knock off Washington 24-0. And the G-Men, they're 36-7 winners over Tennessee. Back to the jungle line we go. Area code 401. Hi, who's this?
What's up, Nick? It's Donovan from Rhode Island.
Hey, Donovan. What's on your mind, man?
Well, it's funny because this game, my emotions were just leveled the whole entire time. I'm sad to say that I was neither surprised when the Bengals were winning, because I thought they were either going to crush the Steelers or get absolutely embarrassed. And unfortunately, it was the latter. All I have to say really is, Leon Hall, man, that's just a terrible situation. That guy's got to be benched, after this game, or put in a Chris Crocker role or something, and put the young people out there, Denard or Baker Patrick, because there's no reason after how many games we had this season, 14 or 15 games, that one guy is the only person in your secondary continually getting benched, and Gunther doesn't have any problems with it. It makes no sense. And another thing I have to point out
I'm probably Giovanni Bernard's biggest fan in Cincinnati. I still think he should be the starter, but I don't understand how you can let a guy that's not producing on offense this entire game and let the guy sit that's running all over the defense. It just doesn't make any sense. And Jeremy Hill, just let him sit there. I don't understand the logic with that. But Andy Dalton is good for one bad play of the game. That could cost us. Sanu's good for one critical drop. And I think this defense needs a better defensive coordinator. That's it, because, like, the scheme they had out there was just embarrassing. It was so embarrassing as a fan to see the same play. This is like high school. You know, in high school when you're beating down the other team and the coach just says, just keep running the same play until they stop it. And then you see on the pro level that type of crap is happening. It just disheartens you as a fan and kind of embarrasses you as a fan, especially when you got a whole bunch of friends that are Steelers fans, and it was just heartbreaking. But at the same time, I'm not even surprised.
Yeah.
But one last thing I want to say, I do think I think the narrative was just written like that so we can go into Pittsburgh and just probably not absolutely demolish them, but get that like last second field goal or something to put us in the playoffs, because that's just how it's going to be. I have no doubt in that. I know we're going to beat Pittsburgh on the last game of the year.
I like your positive thinking, man. I really do.
Yep.
I hope you're right.
But, I hope so too. But it seems like I don't even have any faith. Unfortunately, as a fan, I don't have any faith for that Broncos game. I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised, but I can't even fathom that being a close game. Prime time, Monday Night Football of all things against the Broncos. I don't know. The Browns have finally fallen off, so we'll beat them next week.
Yeah.
It's just going to come down to that Steelers game in week 17.
Appreciate the call, Donovan. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you. Yep.
Rhode, that's Donovan here on the Jungle Line. Now, again, get in touch. 404-946-3397 is the number to call. Yeah, I'm glad that he brought up Sanu because he was non-existent today. Yeah, he lined up a couple times at quarterback. They actually ran. I think he had a couple rushes today. He did have one carry for 0 yards. 2 catches for 16 yards. I mean, Sanu is non-existent. And then, of course, and Paul Dehner made a great point of this on Twitter this afternoon. You know, why even look to Sanu when A.J. Green's going off like he was? It makes total sense. Back to the Jungle Line, though. Area code 513. Hi, who's this?
Hey, what's up, Nick? This is Andy from Denver. How you doing?
Hey, Andy. What's up, man? Look, I've had better days. I'm sure you have, too.
You know what, man? Sorry. I've had better days, too. I got to tell you, I am born and raised Cincinnati, transplanted to Denver. We go to a Denver or a Cincinnati bar every Sunday, and we root for the boys. I'm battling, though. I'm battling big time. And I can tell you what, I listen to you guys like usually every Wednesday night, and I hear a lot of, and I know this is a bad word, but I hear a lot of Dalton apologetics. But let's be honest with each other. Let's be real honest with each other. You win and lose Super Bowls according to the quarterback. Am I right?
I would disagree with you in a sense. What happened last year? The Seattle Seahawks defense was sick.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The Seattle Seahawks defense was sick. Tell me Russell Wilson is not a top 10 quarterback.
I would say he. Are you looking for fantasy stats or are you looking for just wins? I mean, yeah, he wins you games.
I'm just looking for overall quarterback. I mean, you can use QBR, you can use the eye test. You just tell me what's your gut tell you. Is Russell Wilson an elite quarterback? Is he a top 10 quarterback?
I wouldn't call him elite, but I think he's a great quarterback.
Okay, so you're dodging the question a little bit. He's a top 10 quarterback. I'm going to assume that we both agree on that. So my only point is that what's the one piece that's missing from the Bengals? What's the one piece that we actually think is missing? And I know that you believe this. I know Nikki's going to disagree. I know Scott, right, that Scott's going to disagree. Anthony's probably going to agree. But the one thing we're missing is a quarterback. So today was not the quarterback's fault. I'll give you that. The defense totally melted down in the fourth quarter. The first 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, 6 minutes, was horrendous. But I think if we're being honest with each other, if you look at completion percentages, if you look at touchdown to interception ratios, the one thing that we're missing, if you look at any position spot, the one thing that we're missing is consistent quarterback play. So I'm not mad at the boys. I'm going to be there every Sunday. I promise you. I'm a very rational fan for sure. But I also don't want to be delusional about the fact that when it comes down to it, consistent quarterback play, even like Alex Smith caliber quarterback play, probably would put us over the edge.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I guess I'm not really seeing where you if we're just specifically talking about today. Andy Dalton played well. The one fumble. So I mean, I guess, and he still has led this team to 8 wins, and they're still in first place.
Yeah. Okay. So
I'm not again, and I mentioned it a couple minutes ago. I'm not for Andy Dalton. I'm not against Andy Dalton. I literally am riding the fence. I just want them to win. I guess I have a hard time seeing the vitriol sent his way on social media when it's unwarranted.
For sure.
And
for sure. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just don't want to talk about things that we actually agree on. Maybe because it's thing for your show, but I agree with you. I think the vitriol on social media is whack. I'm not the guy that's going to like hashtag Andy Dalton, I hope you die in a fiery death or anything like that. I'm not that dude. But what I am saying is that it's true that today's loss was not Dalton's fault. I 100% agree with you. He did not play a bad game. He played a very mediocre game, which it tends to be the only thing that we need from Dalton is to not lose games. And when he throws, 3 picks like last week, it's like, man, you really put us on the cusp, and we win by 1 point only because of a 12-man on the field kind of call.
Right.
But my point is not that Andy Dalton is the worst guy to ever live. My point is that Andy Dalton is not the guy that can push us just a little bit over the edge. He's actually the wild card in each game that we play. So, Mo Sanu had a big drop last week. He had a big drop this week for sure. I understand that A.J. Green could take more criticism, but that's kind of splitting hairs. In my opinion, it's kind of splitting hairs. At the end of the day, if Dalton could just protect the ball a little bit more, have a slightly better completion percentage, and not throw off the back of his foot, which you and I both know, let's not lie to each other, his mechanics are atrocious. If he would make better decisions and not throw off the back of his foot, we probably would have 10 wins right now.
I can't argue with that. You're right. I wish he would be more consistent. I wish he would play better in prime time. And you're right. Especially in the playoffs, the wild card has been our quarterback. And I would say with one exception, last year in the postseason, he wasn't playing poorly until things got crazy and they fell behind, and then he dove head first and fumbled, and then he threw a pick, and it just kind of unraveled. And in that game as well, the defense didn't show up either. So I agree with you. I wish he would be more consistent, and I wish that when the lights were on, that he played better. I agree 100% with you. Today, and you mentioned it too, today was not the case. He played rather well.
I agree with you, Nick. I agree with you. Listen, man, you guys are doing good things. I don't want to monopolize your time, but I'll be there Wednesday night, and I'm sure I'll be there Sunday as well. Who day, man?
Hey, appreciate the call, bud.
All right, see you, brother.
Let's go back to the jungle line.
Call from unknown.
Why it does that, I don't know. Thank you, Google Voice. Oh, look, Dalton, he gets a lot of flack, a lot of unwarranted flack. And some of the stuff I've seen on Twitter today, people actually sending him tweets, is ridiculous. I mean, come on. Why? Okay, let's go back to the jungle line. Area code 410. Hi, who's this?
Hey, Nick, this is Seth from Baltimore.
Hey, Seth, what's up, man?
Man, why do we put ourselves through this? It's like the Bengals give us a treat when they go on the road and win 3 straight on games that we don't think they're going to win, and then when we have some faith on them and they get most of their fans, to believe in them again, they lay a goose egg. Like, you can never tell with this team. It's like you can't love them too much, but at the same time, you can't really doubt them. Like, I don't know.
That's why they play the games, man. That's why we love the Bengals. it's like it's in our DNA as a Bengals fan.
and now they gotta go against I think if I saw it right, we go against Cleveland next.
Yep, they got to go to Cleveland. Yep, they go to Cleveland, then they're home to Denver on Monday Night Football, and then they're on the road to end the year in Pittsburgh. So they this 3-game stretch is we're gonna find out what this team is made of. That's for sure.
It will be funny because we lose this one, and then once again we're all doubting the Bengals, saying, "Oh, here we go again," and then the Bengals will end up pulling out one by winning 3 straight games and then losing in the playoffs or something like that. Then it'll be like, "Oh boy, here we go." That's what I think may happen. That we may beat Cleveland next week, and then we might even. And I'm only, dreaming here. We may beat Peyton Manning next Monday night, and Pittsburgh close, and then we might get a playoff game. We might host it, and we might as well flop that, just because that's what the Bengals do. They get your hopes up, and then when you start believing in them and saying yeah and bragging about them again, they just wind up breaking your heart.
Yeah. Look, and they control their own destiny, which is really all you can ask for at this point, right? And just go out and win. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. You got to go out and win. Cleveland today, they lose to the Colts. So, and from when I saw, Brian Hoyer didn't have the best of games. So they're going to be dealing with the distractions of Johnny Football all week, whether or not he's going to be the guy moving forward. I kind of hope it is. That'd be great.
I just hope that tie that we got with Carolina doesn't.
It's helping right now. It's helping right now.
It's helping right now, but like, I would hate for it to come back to bite us in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we got out or we could have won the division with that one more win on our W, that might have helped. But I don't know. We'll see at the end of the season how it all unfolds.
Yep, they got to go take care of business next week in Cleveland, though. First things first. Did anybody
get hurt that you know of? The injury report?
There was a couple of reports about some of the cornerbacks, Newman, Jones, but outside of that, I didn't see anything that I could tell. I mean, I honestly haven't had a chance to check any of the headlines, but as far as I know, there weren't anything too drastic from an injury standpoint.
All right. And before I go, I just want to say AJ Green had a hell of a game. He's the only one that showed up.
That's right. Today. That's right. Hey, appreciate the call, Seth. That's Seth in Baltimore giving us a ring. Let's go area code 703. Hi, who's this?
Hi, this is Richard Rolson.
Hey, Richard, what's up, man?
Not a great day. Just a great day. I have to say, when they went up 21, I thought they were going to win this game. I was really shocked by that fourth quarter. I thought that they had weathered the storm and would then, just hold on. I've been listening to you and the discussion about Andy Dalton and all, and Andy Dalton is not Andrew Luck. He's not going to be Peyton. He's going to be a guy that needs to have everything working around him, and we know that. I think, to be honest, this year, the difference in this year's team from last year's is that our offensive line and our defensive line just aren't winning the battles enough time. And I think that's why Gio Bernard is right now relatively a non-factor, and Hill is only, doing okay. And I thought the difference in today's game was, Roethlisberger had enough time to get passes off. They had a crossing route that was working really well with Brown and Bell. They could keep doing that power pull that was just, causing our team nothing but trouble. So, and they went out and they won that game. I was really bummed to see that happen.
Yeah, I mean, they got pushed around, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They ran the same play probably 10 to 12 times, and it worked each and every time. They had no answer for the double pull from the guard and the tight end. So you got to give, I guess you got to give Todd Haley and the offensive staff some credit, and you got to give Bell some credit as well. He played pretty well today. What's disappointing is that you get a performance out of AJ Green that is one of the best in Bengals history, and it's nobody's going to be talking about that because they were blown out by 3 touchdowns and the quarterback turned the ball over on an easy handoff.
Yeah, that was. But I think that the difference was that Green was having a great game, but no one else was able to also give that extra. We right now, and maybe because we've lost Jones, we lost Eifert, we just don't have that second guy that when everyone starts focusing on Green because he's having a monster game, that we can sneak plays. And I really expected Gio Bernard to be that guy, and in the passing game, to be honest. And they just haven't seemed to design something yet that really kind of exploits his unique abilities. And I don't know. I really think our offensive and defensive coordinator, I'm not calling for firing him that, but I think this next offseason they have to really look at, okay, what weapons do we have and how do we get the most out of them, because we just seem to be missing something. I just don't see what Zimmer was able to bring to us on defense. And we don't have right now we don't seem to have a second weapon that we can count on. Every now and then someone does something good, and Sanu, when he was the primary receiver, did good, but when Green's out there, Sanu just seems to disappear, and I'm kind of shocked by that. So anyway, now we just have to take the game in Pittsburgh. That's all there is to it. We have to win that game now. We have to flip it. So thanks for doing the call-in show, and I really like your weekly stuff that you've been doing, or your daily stuff that you started. So can't wait to hear this week. So have a good day.
Thanks, Richard. Appreciate the call, and thanks for the awesome feedback. Have a good week.
Thanks. Bye.
That's Richard Rolson here on the Jungle Line. Get in touch, 404-946-3397. We'll be here as long as we keep getting calls. If you've been calling, you haven't been able to get through, please continue to try and keep calling. I'll take as many calls as I possibly can. Again, 404-946-3397. Area code 703. Hi, who's this? 703, you're on the air. All right, let's try area code 808. Hi, who's this?
Hey, Chief, how you going?
Hi, who's this?
Oh, Imani, out here in Hawaii.
Hey, Imani. Is it Imani?
Imani.
Imani? I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
No, okay. I called to pick you up, make you feel a little bit better about your day.
Hey, I think I'm okay. I think the Bengals defense needs picked up because they had a rough one.
Yeah, I want to address what a couple of people have said. Actually, he just touched the vein on it, but previously back to kind of that X factor that Andy Dalton called.
Okay.
I really got to say to you, man, I feel like the X factor has ultimately kind of been our offensive coordinator and our consistency there in the last 2 years.
Okay. Do you want to explain further? I think that there are times where Hugh Jackson gets a little too cute. I think that for whatever reason they didn't do it today. I think they needed to run the ball a little more, but then again, they were throwing the ball with ease, and AJ Green was on fire. And if it's working, keep doing it. And that's what the Steelers did to our defense.
True, and I agree with that. But what I don't agree with was that was kind of later, and in the first half, or really first quarter, that's where Todd Haley's kind of style of just pound the ball, it wound up paying off, and we didn't do that.
Right.
And I feel like Hugh preaches that, but then I'm screaming at my television when he comes out with 3 offensive linemen, and like you said, too cute.
Yep.
And the same thing for Gruden last year. I was very upset all the time when we'd be in 5 wide, or doing some trick play instead of, grinding it out in the AFC North.
I'm with you, man. I wish they would pound the rock more. The problem is, they've got 2 really good running backs, and one running back isn't doing very well right now in Bernard. For whatever reason, he has not gotten going. He had the one good game this year where he broke off the long 85-yard run, but Hill has been, and Hill has shown that he can do it. And why they refuse to give him more carries, I don't know. But I think they do need to pound the rock more. And maybe they don't have the line that's built for that.
Well, and then that's the other vein I wanted to touch on, that kind of got touched on a little bit. I love that I keep using the word touched on. I'll blog that. But just that our D-line is another thing that I just feel it's painstaking for me to watch, Domata Peko. I know his job is to hold that center, that block, but it's just hard. It's hard to watch that man play the kind of ball he is, and then, when I watch, I got to watch Dunlap getting literally driven to the ground with the elbow in his back every single play and not one yellow flag until finally like the fourth quarter or something. It's just like, I didn't feel like we got any help in our D-line. And then Ray Maluga, whose only job is to run in the guards because he doesn't do a lot of tackling, even though he's been stepping it up recently, I don't know that he really is helping as much as we needed to. Emmanuel Lemire, you can't expect him to guard someone like that in space. And he did track him down later, but we just don't have any run stop anymore. None of that stoutness about ourselves. And that's Mike Zimmer. I miss him.
Yeah, today we could have really used him. I don't know if a Mike Zimmer defense would have given up 42 points to the Steelers, and I don't know if a Mike Brown defense, or not a Mike Brown, a Mike Zimmer's defense would have allowed the Cleveland Browns to rush for nearly 200 yards of offense. Yeah, I'm with you. I miss Zimmer. And maybe Paul Gunther can be a great coordinator someday. I think this year he's learning a lot. That's for sure. You can't deny that.
Yeah. As always, man, you do a great show. Always catch you and try and call in, man, and keep doing what you're doing and keep your spirits up. But man, today was a heartbreaker, and it's like you can't lose at home to the Browns and to the Steelers and then win AFC South or NFC South wins. No one cares about it. NFC South wins,
Yeah, it's weird. They win 13 in a row at home, and then they go and they stick it up in these last two. I don't understand this team, and that's what's frustrating. And I appreciate you calling, and I appreciate the feedback. And I promise, is it Imani?
Irie Music, Chief. I blog online, and I've gotten kicked off a couple of times because I get a little bit belligerent. But you guys will catch me around. Irie Music, man. Fear and loathing in Hawaii.
Okay, appreciate the call. Aloha.
A blessing, Chief. Mahalo.
Mahalo. I like that one even better. Thanks for the call. Mahalo.
There it is. All right, see you.
Take it easy. Again, get in touch, Bengals fans. 404-946-3397. We'll be here as long as we keep getting calls. Let's take a little look at the scoreboard. What's going on around the rest of the NFL right now? Right now, Denver leading Buffalo in Denver 7-3. Kansas City's up 7-6 over Arizona. The Eagles up 7-0 over the Seahawks. That game in Philly. And the 49ers currently lead the Oakland Raiders 7-3. That's an interesting battle out in the Bay. Look, the Bengals gave up 600 yards of offense, yet everybody on social media, and even some of you here in this chat room, are blaming Andy Dalton for today's loss. I know that the fumble put the defense in a bad situation on a short field, but if you can hold them to a field goal there, that maybe changes the game. But Le'Veon Bell ran it down their throats. And when you are 8 for 16 on third down like the Steelers were, you're going to win ball games. All right, joining us here on the program via the Skype line, the one and only Fatal Content. Fatal, what's up, man?
Man, I'm not really bummed out about this loss. Was it a bad loss? Yes. Should we have played better? Yes. But I'm really pissed off about it. Just calling out these Bengals fans, or quote unquote. I'm putting my fingers up. Quote unquote fans. It's absurd, man. You guys are better than that, man. I just can't understand this notion that we lost because of one fumble, and Andy Dalton, everything he did in between before that just meant nothing. It's upsetting and it's ridiculous to see some of these people. But you know what? Hey, that's what they thrive on.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I thought the quarterback played really well today. You take away that mistake, which sometimes that happens on read options. There They're not the easiest plays to run. I would love to see somebody out there try to run the read option with a professional defensive end coming at you like that. It's not that easy. It looks easy because they practice it over and over and over again. But these are the same guys that were praising Andy Dalton for the read option play in the first half.
Exactly. Did he not score a touchdown on it the first time? And the way that it happened is that he carried out the draw way too long. He looked at the D end coming at him, and he unfortunately in a freak play got the ball knocked out of his hand by the hip of his running back. Listen, it's a bad turnover, but we've seen this team. Like I said, man, the Steelers rose up to the occasion. They didn't fold when A.J. Green lit them up and had some big catches against them. They didn't fold. They showed the heart of champions, and that's what we didn't do. We just didn't make plays. We got punched in the mouth, and I said it when I called during the show. If Le'Veon Bell goes off, we lose easily. I know you remember me saying that. I said he's my biggest worry. He goes off, we lose, and this was not a shock to me. When I saw what he had in the first half, I felt this loss coming. That's why I didn't even tweet. I thought it was a big win. We needed it, but it's just I know Mickey is gonna call. I'm probably gonna go nuts on the Wednesday show, but it's just I just have a question: who's leading the division? Who's in first place, and who is in control of their own fate? Us.
Right, the Bengals are.
I can't understand this notion that it feels like we're 4-8 in the chat room, and I'm going to war with people, and it's absurd, man. We're winning this division, and this notion that we can't go to Pittsburgh and win. Oh, we can't beat the Browns. I mean, really? I mean, this is insane at its core, man.
I'm in agreement 100%, and I'm not denying. And people were mentioning it in the chat room. The what the fumble did as far as the momentum. I agree that it changed the momentum, and you'll look at that fumble, and a lot of people are going to point to that as the tipping point. But at some point the defense has to get off the field. At some point the defense has to force a turnover and pick your quarterback up, and sometimes make a sack. The defense gave up 600 yards of offense. I don't know, even if Andy Dalton doesn't fumble that ball, who's to say they still don't lose by 21?
Exactly, and here's a question: after he fumbled and they scored, what was the score? It's not like we were driving and we were down 7 and we're making a comeback and it was a fumble and we went down 14. After they scored, we were still only down 7 points. I mean, did it have an impact on the game? Of course, no one is denying that. But the fact that that's why we lost, no, Le'Veon Bell is why we lost that freaking game. That is why we lost that game. It's not one fumble. And I know it sounds like we're always apologizing for Andy Dalton, but come on, man, enough is enough. It's like this guy, like I said, he can go 33 for 33, have 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and they'll talk about his chin strap was on wrong or his helmet didn't fit. It'll be something to say anytime.
I feel like we're in full agreement, Fatal. I have nothing to counter that.
We're in first place. We're in first place. We lost the game. It's like the 3 wins prior meant nothing. It's like the 3 road wins meant nothing. If they've proven anything, they can beat anyone on the road, and it's like that meant nothing. It's like the good defense before that meant nothing. It's one game. It's the best running back in the NFL in my eyes this year at least. I mean, people will say Murray, but this guy is doing everything for that team. Their backup running back has 1 yard for the season. They're like the worst in the NFL. So this guy is the best running back in the NFL, and we got lit up. There's not an excuse for that. But the point is we got punched in the mouth and we lost because we were soft today. It's a team thing. It's not one guy. It's not one play. And we're still in first place despite that. And those Browns do not look scary to me.
I hear you, man. They just got to take care of business next week in Cleveland. That's all they can worry about at this point.
Exactly, man. Like everyone has touched on, man. Great show. Great for you to call, and I love how we have high pitched voices and we speak our minds when the team loses. That shows that the pessimism is at a high rate, and when we win, the calls are seldom. So hey, that's how it's gonna be. I'm always gonna be the optimist. So we'll be all right. We'll make the playoffs and we'll win this division.
They got to just worry. All at this point, worry about what they can worry about, and that's Cleveland. Take care of business there. That's step 1.
That's it, man. That's all we have to do. So Who they, man? First place.
That's right. First place, 8-4-1 in the division. We'll talk to you Wednesday night, bud.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Rhode. That's Fatal Content here on the Skype line, giving us a ring on Inside the Jungle post game. It's it's tough. It's tough to win in the NFL when you give up 350 yards passing and 193 yards rushing. It's just really tough. And this offense of the Bengals is not built to score 42 points and play in a track meet. If Andy Dalton doesn't fumble that ball, who's to say that they still don't go and lose by 21 points? Did the fumble, create a momentum shift? Sure, I'm not going to deny that, but it's not all on Dalton. The defense today, they didn't make enough plays. Your leading tackler for the Bengals today, Vinny Ray, with 15 tackles. AJ Green, probably your game MVP for us from a Bengals perspective. 11 catches for 224 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, it's just disappointing. This offense of the Steelers, we watched New Orleans last week, forced some turnovers, caused Ben Roethlisberger problems, and this defense today was they didn't show up. They just couldn't get off the field, couldn't get any pressure on Roethlisberger, and when you let him sit back there for hours and hours, he will pick you apart. Oh, man. So, Bengals 8-4-1. Big game next week in Cleveland. Make sure you check out Cincy Jungle. We've got all kinds of coverage, all the latest news as far as injuries, all the recaps you want, and more over at cincyjungle.com. Make sure you check it out. Also, don't forget, if you want to get access to our daily shows here on Inside the Jungle, become a patron over at patreon.com/Nick Suberling or spnt.tv/Patreon. I'll be bringing you the Monday report tomorrow, recapping today's action and looking ahead a little bit to next Sunday against the Browns. Then on Tuesday, we'll have Media Day Tuesday, where I'll be joined by the Cincinnati Enquire's Paul Daner. Wednesday, we'll be visiting with Nick Markajon from the Orange and Brown Breakdown to talk about the Browns. And, of course, we'll have the Wednesday night roundtable right here, 8 o'clock Eastern at cincyjungle.com. You won't want to miss that. If you have any feedback, let me know your thoughts. You can always call and leave a voicemail, 404-946-3397. You can also email me, insidethejungle@spnt.tv. Appreciate all the phone calls. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in live. You're all fantastic. I love hearing from Bengals fans all over the world. That's going to do it for Inside the Jungle postgame. Special thanks to my associate producers, Andy Lanham, Larry Rolston, and Mike Vardy. Inside the Jungle is an SPNT production. For more information about our other podcasts, log on to spnt.tv. And as I mentioned, check out Cincy Jungle for all the latest Bengals news and updates. I'm Subes. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Rhode.